Hello and thanks for checking out TheChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, just a quickie update here, trying to get to the beach before the sun goes down. So we're looking at WEED, very solid bounce today, and a week maker for some, a month maker for some, a day maker for some, but a lot of profit to be had for the bulls. So personally, I had positions in multiple accounts that were all in CGC at the end of the day Friday due to the accumulation that I pointed out in the video over the weekend. And then first thing this morning, I did a market buy for a normal size position in my regular account. And that was that. That was all I entered on this play. Actually, I did enter a little bit more after hours on Friday as well in my regular account. But either way, the bottom line is I did not go huge all in like I was anticipating if we got further weakness. So like I keep saying, my aggressiveness matches the Bears. The Bears were not aggressive in the slightest today, but we could recognize that. And I still wanted a piece of the bullish action. So I had a larger position than normal, but I was writing down notes at the end of Friday, scaling in and writing out potentially a 400% position over what I normally take. Obviously, we didn't get that setup, so I didn't make that play. We saw the CGC strength pre-market. Right before the bell rang, I was live and I said, this is standing out. The CGC strength here pre-market is notable. We're not likely to break the low of yesterday with how we're starting here in this initial move. Then I waited 1 minute, watched how the action started, and market bought my position. So I took profit on the way up, scaling out of my position into this strength. And the lack of consolidation is the reason I was selling into strength. We then topped out and consolidated at the end of the day. And we did not close with much weakness. We have an upper wick of profit taking. There's two ways to view this. Number one, you could say, wow, the bulls didn't really close strong. The bears are still all over this. And we're just looking for a weak bounce attempt now that we have cooled off the hourly, the 4-hour RSI. And we're looking at a potential another leg down on the daily to fill these gaps. That's entirely possible. The second way of looking at this, and again, I'm comparing this to the last bounce attempt in similar conditions back on June 28th, and the lack of follow-through. But the difference there was we closed at the high of the day. So the opposing scenario would be maybe this hourly consolidation gave us the higher low, and if the bulls come out swinging at the open tomorrow, and we see a break of the high of today, that gives us the higher low and higher high continuation to try and see this bounce get a little bit more follow through. And looking at the last move, we can see that the end of the day there, we had not really established a higher low. We had a very brief consolidation period, but it wasn't the kind of consolidation like we're seeing a very clear pullback. So that could be viewed as a bullish scenario. We have to see the bulls show up tomorrow morning and break this resistance level to see continuation sooner rather than later. The sooner the bulls break it right out of the open, the sooner they convince everybody that we have continuation potential, and then we'll see some further bulls buy in. The 4-hour time frame is still in a very clear lower high pattern. Anything under 35.77 keeps the lower highs intact. And again, we have to see follow through the bull MACD cross. I'm skeptical at this point. I'm staying protective. I'm not giving back any of my profit. I did swing a small position in WEED compared to what I had at the start of the day, but I'm going to remain skeptical, and I am keeping an eye out for a potential bearish entry. Right now, Fidelity today did not have any shares available to short. I'm going to keep checking every day, but if we do see follow through, I'm going to be keeping an eye out perhaps in the $36, $37 range to be initiating short positions. I want to see weakness before I do initiate any short positions, but that's going to be my mindset. Maybe a little bit more follow through for a bounce. I will look to play it tomorrow if we do get that follow through and break the high of today, but keeping in the back of my mind that this daily trend is not changing anytime soon, and this bounce will set a daily lower high. So that's where we stand overall. The key support is the low of consolidation, 33.36, and resistance is 34.56 for continuation. APH has a really nice tightening pattern to be watching. We have the low of the previous pullback is support at 1022, resistance 1137, higher low at 1033, and now the bulls need to break 1030 or 1137 to see this bounce get some more follow through. After 1137, we're looking all the way up at 1222 as the next resistance. And as far as the weekly chart goes, not going to change the trend back to bullish just yet. The best hope for the bulls is a bounce and likely an equilibrium and a lower high to form and tightening range. But again, as far as the daily chart goes, this bounce is not done just yet. There was a lot of bull volume at the start of this morning. I am going to give the bulls a chance tomorrow morning. APH is not too far away from breaking 1137, which will convince the bulls at some follow through. And then we'll be looking up at 1172 as the first resistance after that next level. In terms of support, hourly high or low for APH, bulls ideally want to hold 1090. If we break 1090, we're going to be looking to fade back down towards the 1034 range and remain in an equilibrium. So if we cannot break 1128 and 1137 tomorrow, we'll look to pull back and form a higher low compared to 1033 and give us a nice hourly equilibrium to be watching. ACB closed at the high of the day. It stood out a little bit. Solid bull volume. Look at the volume. Highest volume day in weeks. That's very notable because it is a green Marubozu candlestick, which tells us the majority of that volume is bullish. So we're looking for continuation tomorrow. If we break 770, we're looking up at 8 psychological as the next resistance level. Higher low on the hourly established at 760, and we'll see if we get that continuation and follow through. Keeping in mind there still is a little bit of overhead risk here in terms of the deal going through, and there's some arbitrage between where everything that I explained in the video Saturday. I'm not going to go over it again, but that's a reason that I'm a little bit more skeptical on the ACB bounce and a little bit more cautious. But again, bulls had a nice day and closed strong, so we absolutely could see some follow through tomorrow as well. Kron's in its own world. It's doing its own thing right now, and we didn't see anywhere near as much weakness the last week, so the bounce is nowhere near as strong. So we have a bit of an equilibrium forming on the daily. And like I said, it's in its own world in terms of correlation. It was very clearly the weakest bouncer today, but it was also very clearly the strongest name over the past couple of weeks due to the lack of any dumping. So our lower high is 945. Bulls are trying to form a higher low compared to 815, currently at 843, but we're not confident that that higher low is going to hold because of the weak close that we saw. So at this point, I personally would be waiting for a daily pattern to get more clear and tighter for Kron. Then I would be interested in it. Otherwise, APH, ACB, and WEED have plenty more clarity in the short term to be watching. So I'm going to keep an eye on Kron, but I have no interest in playing it until this daily chart ideally tightens it up. I'd like to see a higher low and then a lower high and a tightening range into next week or beyond. But that's where we stand with that. So overall, I have a small position. I locked in a ton of profit today to remain protective because we are fighting the trend. The bounce here is against the daily trend. I am scouting bearish entries if the bulls continue to bounce. I will, if we see a solid green day tomorrow and follow through and the bulls break the high of today tomorrow morning, I'm going to hold off on my short. Maybe we'll enter it tomorrow, but very unlikely. I'll probably be looking on Wednesday at that point. And again, doing things on the fly, the ability to react to changes in situations. So I put out that video yesterday, and those videos definitely have an effect to a certain degree. So I keep that in mind, in the sense that, ChartGuys members are moving millions of dollars, multiple millions of dollars. And to think that these videos are not going to have some kind of effect where if 4,000 people watch these videos and, some money is moved, we're going to potentially have millions of dollars acting if everybody's looking for a bounce and the video comes out. So I'm well aware of that fact when I post these videos, that it does have a potential impact. And to avoid any, disclaimer issues, I always say what I am doing beforehand. But what was the point? The point was the potential we were looking for, a quick flush first thing today, and we didn't get it. And the reasoning for that is partially because we had so many people looking for bounces. So being able to recognize that and adjust the game plan slightly, again, I changed the amount of shares that I was going to be buying today. I changed when I was buying, and I reacted to what the market environment was giving me. So Reddit loves to, look at the video I gave out over the weekend and say, he was wrong, it didn't dump. When in reality, you react to that. You recognize, okay, we held the low of the day. We now have a clear support level from Friday's low and use that support level as a potential stop level. So that's where we stand heading into tomorrow. Let's see if we can break that high of today first thing. And if not, bears have complete control. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you soon.